All rise.
Got rid of the
Morning. Cindy Evans, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I will.
Thank you.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning and welcome to the Shawnee County Board of County Commissioners November 21st meeting. And what is first on the agenda?
Our first item is item 3, consent agenda.
Okay. I would, are there any questions?
I don't have any questions.
I'll move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item 4, new business A, County Clerk number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Commissioners, we have vouchers that total for today $691,256.07. Some of the highlights out of that voucher report, I'm going to start with, it's a lesser amount, but the Elections Commissioner had $69,848.48, the majority of which is made up of payments for all of the workers and volunteers for the election that we just completed. The courts had $89,045, which is primarily jurors, the participants in our legal system. We had holding accounts with the state of Kansas for $82,086.17, and then health insurance premiums of $133,510.58. Outside of those, we had, under the appraiser, Keller and Craig, a capitalization rate study, and under the equipment fund, Shawnee Mission Ford was the purchase of a Department of Correction van, and then bleachers for the Lake Shawnee Girls Complex. But I don't have any questions, and we'll move for approval.
I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
I'll move for approval.
Second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item B, Parks and Recreation, number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C418-2019 with Enterprise Fleet Management for the lease of two 2020 Ford F-350 trucks due to Ford stopping production on the previously approved 2019 model, resulting in an increase of $765.12 from the previous approved $14,094.72 to an increase of $14,859.84.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brett Hulsether, Shawnee County Parks and Rec Fleet Supervisor. Basically, we kind of ran out of time on that particular model. They make vehicles, cut them off at different times of the year. They're going to make changes on the next model year, so we just would like to purchase the 2020 model instead of the 2019 model.
I don't have any questions. I'll move for approval.
I will second that. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item B2, consider authorization and execution of the following with Enterprise Fleet Management to utilize the early order strategy to lease 8 new vehicles with an annual increase to the lease of no more than $5,371.08, with equity for the sale of the 8 vehicles being replaced applied to the new vehicle leases. A, contract C419-2019 for the lease of 3 2020 Ford F-150 XL 4x2 Super Cab slide side 8-foot box. B, contract C420-2019 for the lease of 1 2020 Ford F-150 XL 4x2 Super Cab style side 6.5 box, or 6.5 feet box. C, contract C421-2019 for the lease of 1 2020 Ford F-250 XL 4x4 Super Cab style side 8-foot box. D, contract C 422-2019 for the lease of one 2020 Ford F-250 XL 4x4 regular cab style side 8-foot box. E, contract C 423-2019 for the lease of one 2020 Ford F-350 XL 4x2 regular cab dump bed. And F, contract C 424-2019 for the lease of one 2020 Ford F-150 XL 4x4 super cab style side 6.5-foot box, 145 inches WB. I don't know what WB. Maybe WB's initials the person who wrote it.
Wheelbase.
Oh, wheelbase. I knew that. I was just testing him.
Once again, Brent Hussether with Shawnee County Parks and Rec, Fleet Supervisor. I wanted to take an opportunity to kind of let you know how things have gone with Enterprise since we've started with them in 2017. We originally agreed to lease 26 models for about $130,000 a year, and by using the services that they offer to us, we have been able to actually spend less than that each year while continuing to update our fleet. Of course, 2017 was not a full year, and not all the vehicles were delivered. In 2018, the Enterprise actually provided us with some incentives after we received the trucks that brought the price down that they had found through Ford. And then this year, we have added a vehicle and or added one car, and then the weed department here late, just last month, we received 2 trucks on that on the lease, and we're looking at spending about $129,000 this year. I wanted to give you an idea of what the difference was between leasing and just buying things outright. So far, we spent about $295,000 leasing over the last 3 years. If we would have purchased vehicles spending about the same amount of money, rather than replacing 29 vehicles, we'd only been able to replace about 11. The reason that is important is, number one, the maintenance on the old vehicles that we had was costing us quite a bit of money. In fact, a number of the vehicles that we were replacing in 2017 didn't make it to the new trucks, to when the new trucks arrived. They pretty much died before they got there. The new vehicles are much safer. A lot of the older vehicles we didn't even have anti-lock brakes, much less some of the collision avoidance systems and things of that nature. Of course, the uptime of vehicles or reliability is much better. They look a lot better. They get better fuel economy. And we used to buy a vehicle or a few vehicles every year and then pass them down, so which meant we had kind of a generic vehicle that everybody got, which doesn't necessarily mean we're getting the right vehicle for the job. By doing it this way, we're able to, as you can see, we've got a number of different configurations of vehicles, different sizes, lengths, heights, 4-wheel drives, 2-wheel drives, in order to meet the right, do the right job. We started actually turning in the vehicles, some of the vehicles before the end of the lease. And to give you an idea here, we turned in 7 2018 model year vehicles. And those were costing us about $33,000 a year, $33,334 to lease the 2018 models. With the equity that we were able to realize replacing those vehicles, the 2019 models actually are costing us $32,751. So we were able to bring our warranty out for another year. We don't have to put tires on those vehicles. We don't have to put brakes on those vehicles, and should last a bit longer. So all in all, I've been fairly happy with the service I've received from Enterprise. They've pointed me in directions I wouldn't have necessarily known to go on my own. We're wanting to do something very similar with what we did last year with some of the 2018 models. At that time, we were not in a very good position on our 2017 vehicles that we had purchased. That has changed. We're looking like we're in a little bit better position. So we're asking to turn these vehicles in, use the equity in those vehicles towards the 2020 models, and hopefully save some more money. That's all I have. If you have any questions, I do my best to answer them.
How long are the leases?
The leases are for 5 years. That's the lease agreement, but we can replace vehicles really any time in that 5 years, and then there's a buyout at the end.
To what extent is our obligation on maintenance of these vehicles? We do all the oil changes and...
We do all the oil changes. The enterprise does offer a maintenance package. We like to see the vehicles on a regular basis, so we know what kind of condition they're in, whether they're being taken care of or not, if they need attention. And I'm afraid that if we used a third party, we would we'd not be able to do that part of it. And the new vehicles are fairly low maintenance relative to our older vehicles, you know. To do, most of the trucks that, like we turned in last year, only had one oil change on them. Some of the new vehicles that we had, the oil changes were actually included in the purchase of the vehicle. So all the Toyota Priuses we had, the oil changes and tire rotations were covered by Toyota for 2 years.
Any questions?
Brent, when we first started the leasing of the vehicles, I know that you had a lot of skepticism about whether or not this would be beneficial to Shawnee County. Having you come talk today, it sounds like this has been something that's been beneficial in cost savings to Shawnee County.
Yeah, my first thought was, why would we pay finance charges? You know, if we're going to buy 26 trucks, we could get another one basically free. But what I found is that's been made up and then some. The total equity that we have received back so far is about $18,000, and that's only, you know, 7 of the trucks that we replaced.
And I know that previously Commissioner Archer had some concerns about why are we going to Priuses, but we were using those for some of our supervisors that are driving a lot and don't need a truck. They need something that's more fuel efficient.
Yeah, and we've done pretty well with those, most of them. The cleanup ones are a little bit bigger model, and they average about 40 miles per gallon. Our smaller ones, the Priuses, and then we actually have some Hyundais, are more like 55 miles per gallon. Previously, we were, pretty much everybody was in pickups, and we were looking at 15.
Any questions?
Nope. I'll move to approve the contract.
I will second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Thank you. Next item.
Item C, corrections. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C425-2019 with Indeed to provide a specific hiring event for the Shawnee County Department of Corrections at a cost of $1,500 with funding from the detention budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Cole, Shawnee County Department of Corrections. This is a contract to enter in with Indeed, who has been helping us with our hiring and retention promotions and programs that we have at the Department of Corrections. But we are doing this in cooperation with Linda Oates and the Health Department. The total cost is about $3,000, but we're splitting this up. That these this program here is specifically set up to identify those who meet qualifications and they meet the similar criteria that we've given to Indeed, that they can send out a social media blast and information to them specifically. And then once we get there, there's no guarantee anybody is going to respond, obviously. But we're hoping that we can do that, and then we will be working with the health department on setting up these interviews off-site. We'll have a team from the Department of Corrections going there and being able to do this. So we do believe, we've had good success with Indeed. We believe that this will help us in being able to market to those who do meet and exceed our standards for and criteria. I did meet with Betty, and I did meet with Angela Lewis regarding this, and I think we all agreed that this would be well worth and I'd stand for any questions you may have.
Any questions? I'll move that we approve.
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item C2, consider approval of request to post and fill one vacant juvenile intensive supervision officer position at a maximum salary, including benefits, of $66,089.79, with funding from the Juvenile ISP and Juvenile Case Management Budget funds received from the Kansas Department of Corrections Juvenile Services for fiscal year 2020.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Cole, Shawnee County Department of Corrections. This is within our community corrections budget and staffing analysis. This is an existing position due to the resignation and retirement of one of our officers after a long period of time. Our officers decided to resign and reap the benefits of retirement. But this is very important to us that we do fill this position to be able to meet the expectations with us to adequately supervise those who are charged or quartered to our jurisdiction. Again, the money is given to us by the Kansas Department of Correction. It is in the budget. This is an existing position, not a new one. I have discussed this with Human Resource and be happy to answer any questions you may have.
You said this is funded through,
Kansas Department of Corrections gives us the money to operate the community corrections, so the money is already there in the budget, yes.
I don't have any questions. I'll move for approval.
Second.
motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item D, appraiser, number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C426-2019 with Enterprise Fleet Management for the lease of two 2024 F-150XL 4x4 Super Cabs, increasing annual agreement by no more than $11,306.16, with funding from the Land Records Fund, and approval of request that proceeds for the sale of vehicle being replaced be applied to the new vehicle leases.
Good morning, Steve Bauman, County Appraiser. Commissioners, this is part of my vehicle replacement program that kind of started working on over the last couple of years. I know a couple of you have seen some pictures and heard my sob story, but Commissioner Mays, I'm going to fill you in a little bit. This is a 2008 Ford Focus, by far the nicest vehicle that we have. And then we're going to get into what we also drive. I'm not sure if any homeowner would believe this is a county vehicle as it pulls up, and I feel for the health department because I know that they're driving some of these as well. They've seen better days. So how we got to this point was we got our vehicles from the sheriff's department. Once they got completed with them, they were done with them, they gave them to us, which was fantastic because we could kind of keep our cars replaced and refreshed, as refreshable as these are after the sheriff's department gets done driving them. Now that they've stopped doing that, they've changed procedures, and now they're trading in on new vehicles, we're needing to do something different. We really had a need anyway, but so, in following up on Brent's presentation, I've had discussions with Betty, and she clued me in on the possibility of leasing, and I thought, I was kind of like, Brent, why lease? It doesn't make a lot of sense. But after he explained everything to me, it does make sense, and that's what we would like to do. The funds for this is going to be coming from the land records, and thank you, Becky, for providing that opportunity for us to use that money instead of tax dollars. And I'm also requesting that we be able to have Enterprise Leasing sell these vehicles that we're no longer going to use and help offset the cost of the lease. I don't think we're going to offset much, but that's the idea. Our nice vehicle, I'm more than willing to donate to another department that may be in need of that until they find a different source. So this request is for 2 of the 5 vehicles that I'm looking to replace. We're wanting to get additional 3 Hyundais, but we have not had the quotes turned in on those yet, so I can't get permission for the lease agreement. This is going to be part of the Shawnee County contract with Enterprise, and Brent has agreed to assist us in managing our small fleet. Be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
I notice these are 4-wheel drive pickups.
They are.
Do you need to haul things, or what's the?
It's not the hauling part that makes it important, it's the 4-wheel drive, and this is going to be for our rural areas that we're going to primarily use those for. The fact that they're trucks, discussions with Brent indicate that these have a much better trade-in resale value, and they're going to end up costing less with that as a result, so.
Fred Wellsether with Parks and Rec lead again. One thing that we found is that the incentives that Ford offers on their trucks is considerably better than what anybody else offers, which helps us build that equity. In other words, we buy them as a government entity cheaper, and we then, if we are able to turn those vehicles over on a regular basis, we have more equity in them than, say, some of the smaller vehicles. So they may give up a little bit in fuel consumption, but in situations where it would be nice to have, say, a 4-wheel drive F-150, the cost really isn't that much more. In some cases, it might be less. That makes sense?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
That was exactly where my question was. I mean, when you're looking at the fuel efficiency of the Ford versus what in a passenger vehicle or even an SUV with 4-wheel drive, I mean, is it really worth it? But if the incentives are offsetting the cost of the fuel efficiency,
That's what we've found so far. We can't see into the future too far, but so far it's worked out pretty well.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item E, Information Technology, number 1. Consider approval of request to create a project fund of $24,000 with funding from the 2019 IT budget to lease one 2020 Ford F-150 XL 4x4 Super Cab, contract C428-2019, one 2020 Chevrolet Traverse, contract C429-2019, and three 2020 Toyota Priuses, contract C430-2019, and approval of request that proceeds from the trade-ins of the 5 older vehicles being replaced, be directed to the capitalized price of the vehicles.
Mark Price, Shawnee County Information Technology. This is kind of a repeat of everything you've been hearing. But we did go through our fleet we currently have and evaluated the vehicles we were looking to replace. We have in the past been really big on buying vans, so as we're hauling equipment, we have room for it. When we bought these vehicles back in 2005, 2006, computers and monitors were much bigger. Since that time, the computers have gotten smaller, monitors have gotten smaller, so our real needs for what we're hauling and moving around has changed. That's how we're moving from full-size vans to Priuses. When we're going out to a department, instead of hauling 5 17-inch monitors that took up the size of this podium, each, you're now hauling a monitor that's the size of a briefcase. And we believe with the Priuses, that will not only save us gas money, but make an easier vehicle to drive, because now you're not driving a big van, and not a big van you're having to call around to get equipment out of. Another item we are really definitely changing is our truck. The truck we have had a lift gate on it, and talking to my people that use that, we were using it maybe once or twice a year, that we really had to have the lift gate. So seeing that, we're just going to a regular truck without a lift gate. Now that truck, the other part of that was maintenance was actually using it a lot. So we're actually going to give that vehicle to maintenance and take one of their trucks to trade in, so they can reap the benefit of they'll be going from a 1995 pickup truck to a 2007 pickup truck. So for them, that will be a added bonus to them. I guess the other part is this was something we were looking to do in 2020. We were looking to buy one vehicle. Through evaluation, we now can get 5 via leasing.
Questions?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner May, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Thank you.
Item F, Sheriff's Office, number 1, consider approval of request to transfer remaining funds in an amount of $60,445.61 from the Barta Complex Shelter Project and the remaining funds from the phone recorder project in an amount of $2,045 to the Mobile Data Terminals Project, and purchase new MDTs using the project fund balances, and the remaining $144,784.39 from the 2019 budgeted funds, and permission to sell the old equipment with proceeds deposited back into the MDT's project fund.
Good morning, Commissioners. Major Hubel with the Shawnee County Sheriff's Office. As I was here last year, to set up the project fund with the help of Ms. Greiner, we knew at that point in time we were getting to end of life for mobile data terminals, in-car computers that all of our officers use. And with software updates, they were coming to end of life. We purchased these current ones in December of 15, so they are 4 years old. Normal tech refresh on MDTs is 3 to 5 years, so we're in that time frame. We were able to realize from the money we set aside last year for this project, as well as saving some money on some other projects, that we were able to pay for about half of it, and then the rest will be utilized using budgeted funds. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I don't have any questions.
Me neither.
Is this one we approve, or is it just
This is an approval because we're transferring funds.
okay?
So I'll move to approve.
Okay, I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Next.
Item G, Health Department, number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C427-2019 with Indeed to provide a hiring event for the Shawnee County Health Department at a cost of $1,500, utilizing grant funds covered in our 2019 budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. Linda Oaks from the Health Department. This is the other half of the Indeed event that Director Cole described to you this morning. We're very happy to be able to work with Corrections to bring this, to help us find possibly some registered nurses. I did want to give a big thank you to Captain Stephanie Ron. She came over and worked with us and helped walk us through it all, and also to Angela Lewis for her help with this. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Move for approval.
Second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Thank you. Next item.
Item G2, consider approval of request to award bid to Ed Bozos Chevrolet at a cost of $23,473 for the purchase of a 2020 Chevy Equinox all-wheel drive SUV to be funded with tax allocations and fees from the current 2019 budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. Linda Oaks from the Health Department again. So, Steve, I'd like to call dibs on that Ford Focus. That is a sweet ride. We'd like to have that. So we are asking today to purchase a vehicle. I am interested in the fleet management and the enterprise work. Next year, when we do our budgeting, we're going to be looking at all our vehicles and what needs to be replaced. We have still been able to get some vehicles from the Sheriff's Office and use those, so we're going to continue that this year. So we'd like to have your approval to purchase this vehicle to use in our environmental health program. They drive around fields a lot looking at septic systems, and so they need a all-wheel drive vehicle, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Move for approval. I'll second.
Second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Linda. Next item.
Item H, Public Works. Number 1, consider approval of request to use no more than $18,000 in 2019 contingency funds to replace a stolen mower and trailer, and to waive the purchasing policy to acquire the replacement mower off state contract.
Good morning, Kurt Niehaus, Director of Public Works. Yes, unfortunately, on October 15th of this year, when we were parked at the northeast quadrant of the roundabout at the intersection of Southwest 29th and Southwest Uris Road, a Public Works F-250 pickup, transport trailer, and a mower were stolen. Normally, this is a two-mower operation, but today, rather than having two intermittent employees running both mowers, only one intermittent employee was available, so one mower was off mowing some distance down the road. And while that was occurring, someone drove off with the pickup trailer and remaining mower. Now, I don't have much to say here, that the fact that the pickup was unlocked, the key was in the ignition, that is Public Works' fault. Obviously, the employee has been talked to. The employee was an intermittent employee that had worked for the department for a number of summers. He knew better. Nevertheless, the equipment is lost. Fortunately, we were able to recover the F-250 pickup. We've waited 60 days in the hope that the trailer and mower would show up. It has not. So I'm here before you asking you, using contingency funds, and I haven't done this in a vacuum. I've been talking to Ms. Greiner about these funds, and she says the funds are available. But I'm here before you asking to replace the lost trailer and mower with contingency funds, 2019 contingency funds. And now, since I've submitted this memo, I've kind of changed my mind on one thing, and I would like to briefly discuss that with you. The mower, we purchased the mower earlier this spring, and there was a quote in your package for the replacement mower. It was within a couple $100 of what we paid for this spring. The $5,500 that was quoted for the trailer is a replace in kind. I have since thought about it, and I think if we spend an extra $2,500, we can get a trailer that's more utilitarian. When we're not using it for mowing, hauling two mowers, we can use it to haul a skid steer and maybe a pavement roller. So I'm revising this request to increase the cost of the three-quarter tilt trailer from $5,500 to $8,000. That will get us a trailer, again, that is more flexible, more utilitarian, and able to haul more of our equipment when we're not mowing. So that stands a total cost of $20,500 in 2019 contingency funds. And with that, I will take your questions.
This may be for Betty or for maybe even Ms. Beck, if we have any contingency policies or insurance policies that would cover theft.
We do have, that would probably be a better, Cindy would be in a better position to answer that question for you.
Did you report it to the office? Do they know? Do they report the stolen?
Other than a police report, no.
They didn't contact John from my office?
No.
Okay. We'll check into it, but the deductible would be more. The total cost of this was $12,000?
$20,000.
$20,000.
Well, the
18.
replacement is 20,000, or
The replacement.
like
Yes,
kind,
yes.
completely like kind would be 18.
Correct.
Okay. But the actual value of the equipment that was lost was?
According to the police report, it was obviously less than 18,000.
So with depreciation, probably less than that.
Because we do have, we have the deductible and stuff, so I can get the copy, have him send a copy of the police report over to my office, and we'll check into this.
Do you need us to wait before we can, or are these two things can be doing independent of each other?
Yeah, they can be, because it's going to have to be, obviously, he's going to have to replace that anyway, so.
And our deductible is $10,000 per event,
Mhm,
correct?
right.
So we'll at least have $10,000 that will
Right.
need to be paid.
But just, if we do have the ability to have a claim, I mean, that's, once our deductible's paid, I would ask us to pursue all means, so, but I don't have any other questions.
I guess my question is that, we're obviously to the end of the mowing season. Is now the time to do this, or is this something that we should wait until next year's budget and budget it in?
Well, I would agree that we're coming to the end of the mowing season, but as with all winters in Kansas, we have days that are pretty nice, and there's days that we can mow. So, and again, the trailer, if we add the $2,500 for the trailer that I'm asking for, it can be used to haul other pieces of equipment. So I guess my preference is that we proceed at this time, because there are days in Kansas in the winter where we can still mow, and I think that answers your question.
I don't have any other questions.
All right. I move that we approve the revised budget.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Next item.
Item I, Administrative Services, number 1, update on revenues and expenditures as of October 31, 2019.
Good morning, Betty Griner, Director of Administrative Services. I'm here this morning to give you the financial overview as of October 31st, 2019. As I've said before, this is a snapshot view as of that date. I will start out with revenues and then go on to expenditures. Okay, first, our year-to-date revenue. Through October 31st, we've received $104,653,944 compared to a budget of $104,560,980. So we are over budget on revenues by $92,964. That is 0.09%. So we are extremely close on our budget on the revenue side. This graph shows you the different categories of revenue and kind of how the total makeup is from those different categories. And I'll go into each of these categories separately. The first category is property tax revenue. We received $97,040,221. That is $1,111,000 under budget. And as we've talked in prior months, that is due to tax exemptions for economic development, that the exemption was granted after the property was assessed the tax. Next category is other tax. We received $14,856,550. That is $212,000 over budget, and that variance is from the state highway tax that came in higher than they had estimated. Next category is charges for services. We received $5,106,840. That is $594,000 under budget, and that is from Parks and Recreation. The last category is other revenue. We received $5,650,333. That is $1,587,000 over what was budgeted, and there are a lot of categories that make this up, but the primary ones that were over budget are penalties and interest on taxes and then on investment income. This pie chart just shows the different categories and how much of our revenue has come from each of those categories. 76% of our revenue has come from property taxes. Other taxes are 14%, charges for services are 5%, and other revenue is 5%. Do you have any questions on the revenues?
Mr. Chairman. Betty, I would like to go back to the property taxes. You said that we were $1 million less due
Yes.
to economic development that has been granted since, but is it not also the case where we've had property that was submitted as tax exempt after, such as airplanes with corporations, and not just economic development?
Most of it in this year is economic development. And we have, in a prior year, we had a large airplane, so that can cause it too. In 2019, most of it has all been from property tax exemptions. But yes, other property that is exempt after it has been assessed would affect these also.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay, we'll go on to the expenditures. Through October 31st, we had expenditures of $98,128,114, compared to our budgeted amount of $90,927,822. So we are over budget for that time period of $1,799,000. And I will go through the different categories and where those variances come from. This chart, like the revenue one, just shows the different categories and how, the makeup of the total expenditures from those categories. Our first category is law enforcement. We spent $40,304,254. That is $1,049,000 under budget, and that is primarily from two departments, mostly the Sheriff's Department, but also the DA. Next category is recreation. We spent $13,540,896. That is $62,000 under their budget for that time period. Next is Public Works. We spent $7,780,881. That is right on budget. And I will mention again, this is just from the general fund. I am getting together some numbers that will include the other sources they have to pay for Public Works from. This does not include sales tax money we've spent. It does not include federal exchange money or state money included in this. And next month, I should have some numbers that include those that you can look at also. So this is just what is spent from the general fund. Public health, we spent $8,086,953, and that is right on budget. Administrative services, $9,737,637. That is $693,000 under budget, and that is the under budget because of the contingency that we've not had to spend so far this year. And then also our general expenses are under so far this year too. So our utilities have been favorable this year. And then our last category is debt service. Spent $9,695,493, and that is right on budget also. When you look at our total expenditures, we are under budget for all categories by 1.66% for the year, or through this time period. This chart just shows the different categories. I think this chart is an easy way of showing, easy way of seeing, I think, the different categories and how they compare to each other in the total amount of expenditures. You can see that by far, law enforcement is the highest category. And then this is a pie chart that shows similar information. It shows the percentage 45% of our expenditures were for law enforcement. Recreation is 15, Public Works is 9, and there again, that's just from the general fund. Public Health is 9%, admin services is 11%, and debt service is 11% on here. Now, we have paid all of our debt service for the rest, for the year. So last month, this debt service percentage was 12%. This year, it's down because our total expenditures, even though the debt service amount remained the same, the total expenditures for the county is higher. So this will continue to go down each month until the end of the year, and it should end up at about 9% for the year. Oh, any questions?
Questions?
Nope.
Thank you very much, Betty. All right, next.
Item 5, Administrative Communications.
Good morning, Commissioners. Susan Fowler, Hensler, Parks and Recreation. So I'm always pleased and excited when I get to come up and tell you that we have a new partnership in one of our community centers. Central Park Community Center is going to be working with VITA, Volunteer Income Tax Assistance, to open our doors up for that program to be held at the center. Having these agencies come into the community center is truly a benefit to the residents, being able to use their community centers to help them with needs that they have. Angel Friesen is here today. Angel is a recreation leader at Central Park. And another reason that we're excited to be able to host this event or this program there is because we're looking at maybe 40 new faces every day coming in to Central Park. And Angel and her staff is going to be able to introduce them to other programs at Central Park. It'll be the only place you can get your taxes done and play shuffleboard probably. So. We have worked together with Cindy Evans from the K-State Research and Extension Office along with VITA, and Cindy is going to come up and tell a little bit about the program itself, but we're very excited to add this program over at Central Park. Good morning, Commissioners. Cindy Evans with Shawnee County Extension. I did send communications to you about 2 weeks ago to give you the history, which I know some of you have maybe heard before, that we formed the Asset Building Coalition of Shawnee County back in 2003. And typically, VITA and the AARP offer 10 to 11 tax sites throughout the county each year. Last year, together, the volunteers completed over 6,100 tax returns. And so I think the important value is that it is saving dollars in tax preparation to the immediate taxpayers, but there is a public benefit to all Shawnee County residents, because what we are trying to do is to help taxpayers to receive the tax refunds that they are legally due to, and that helps to support them and to utilize those funds first instead of relying on other public entities and social service agencies. So it helps to support that. And also, the Department of Revenue educated me several years ago about how important it was for taxpayers to place their debt on record. We always think about the refund aspect, but last year we also helped them place on record about $1 million in tax debt. And the Department of Revenue indicated that until they know what the debt actually is, it's hard for them to reach out to a taxpayer, and start to work with them on a payment plan. So, you think of K-State Research and Extension, our role is education, and there is a great amount of education that goes around doing a tax return and helping people understand what is playing out on the return, what they can do different, and how the return might be affected next year. So we think this partnership would be fabulous. This site started out as being the site at docking. And when the docking building closed, we looked for another partner, ended up at the Department of Children and Families, but they are undergoing remodeling next spring, and so we were looking for a partner and are so pleased that the county with Parks and Recreation might offer a site. There would be no additional cost to the county, just the in-kind donation of the space. Do you have any questions for us?
Very pleased that you're able to find a location after docking and then DCF we're no longer at VA locations. I know this is vitally important to VITA and all of the participants, so thank you.
Thank you.
And it's good to see different departments working together. It's always good to see, so thank you very much.
Very good, thank you. Sure.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bill Sutton, Shawnee County Solid Waste. We'd like to remind the Commissioners and our customers as well that with the upcoming holiday week next week, our 5-day schedule is condensed into 3 days. So for Monday, our pickup schedule will be our Monday, Tuesday customers. On Tuesday will be our Wednesday, Thursday customers. And then on Wednesday, last would be our Friday customers. They can sign up for free text messages for their schedule just by visiting the Shawnee County Solid Waste website. And as always, make sure they have their carts out there by 7 o'clock in the morning. They'll alleviate any missed pickups. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Larry Moss, Shawnee County Treasurer. We mailed the tax statements last week. You should have received your tax statement in the mail. If you have not and you're expecting one, please contact our office. You can email us or call us at 251-5416. Taxes are due on December the 20th. You can pay by mail, online, or in person. Just a reminder that we do not take tax, or we don't process the tax payments at the motor vehicle annex on the 17th Street, but if you want to drop that off, we will courier that down to the courthouse. You can pay by cash, check, or credit card. Reminder that there's a 2.5% charge for the credit card. And let me take this opportunity to say that while this looks like a routine thing that we do every year, in fact, we do it twice a year, it really takes a team effort. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank my staff for all the work that they did to get these statements out correctly and on time, as well as the appraiser's office, who have a lot to work to do beforehand, and City Beck's office, the clerk's office, and IT. This is truly a team effort, something that we make look easy, but it's anything but that. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Commissioner Cook?
Well, Commissioner, I understand that you went down to see the train, and I'll let you tell everybody about that, but I do want to thank Cindy Evans for hosting the commissioners and the public, and Linda Oakes and her staff at the Extension Council banquet earlier this week and to let us know about what's going on with Extension Council, all of their achievements over the last year, but also from Craig Barnes talking about food insecurity and how we might address that. So just thank you to her and her staff.
Go for it. I did go look at the train. It was impressive. It was the biggest steam engine I've ever seen in my life. It was an enormous workhorse. There was probably over 1,000 people down there. I don't know if anybody got a head count, but what an event for North Topeka. And if you ever get an opportunity to see a real steam locomotive, take the time to go see it. It was great. So, that's all I have. I want to make a motion at this point to go into executive session not to exceed 15 minutes. Preliminary discussion via the acquisition of real property specifically related to county administration and maintenance facility. And no action is expected at this time.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. We're now in executive session. Okay, we are officially back in session. No action was taken at this time. Executive session's over, and our meeting's over.
We're adjourned.
Okay.
There's a stack of them over here for, I think there's like 5 of them for.
I don't think so, no.
I'm good. Thanks.
Cindy, it was books for the jail. It's through the Optimist Reading Program.
Is that it?